Hi everyone. In this project, we are going to use OpenAI-API and Microsoft Large Language Model AutoGen in order to create and generate codes for data analyze and execute it accordingly and locally. We have a JSON file called data.json, as you can see here, which is generated from SAP Finance modules and related sales tables, which includes the related data, as you can see, in a list file, including dictionaries. Since we take the columns of each data frame, we can see that it includes the column names of such as company code, vendor supplier number, even fiscal year, production facility storage location, general ledger account number, document type, document date, posting date, local currency date, group currency amount, material number, material type, material group, material description. So as you can see, it's extracted from SAP Finance module from sales tables. So what we will do, we will generate code accordingly for this request, and we will see if it works in a way we want. So we will generate the related code, and we will extract the generated code by extracting the generated code according to our demand of data analysis for this JSON table from SAP document which we created, so that we will use Microsoft Large Language Model AutoGen in order to execute the code. And once we execute the code, we will have the result. In case if the code is not generated, or if the code is not what we want, or if the code doesn't work, in any case, in order to solve the problem, we will include the latest generated wrong code as well as its exception message into the original message for generating the code, which includes the original path of the dataset, the entire column names of the data frame, which we will get by using Pandas Python library, the entire data type of each column from data frame. In case if there is any missing data of each column, we will have it, and the entire info of our original data set, as you can see here, which we explained 5 seconds ago. As you can see, we do not use the values of the data sets, right? So this is so that your valuable information, it stays on your local environment. We only use, as you pay attention, the necessary information of the OS full path of your data set, your column names, the data types of Pandas data frame, if there is any missing data in each column, and which column has the missing data in which number, and the column explanations as we showed earlier. We have a for loop which enables us to make more than one try, and at each try, if in case there is an error, we take the wrong generated code and its exception message, and we are allowed to make in this code for more than in total of 4 tries. If you want, you can extend as much as possible. But the case is, since we are using OpenAI and it's very powerful, we will take logs of each generated code and each execution result. We will see that it's very powerful and it works very efficiently. So we don't need to make more than one try. With each try, with each first attempt, we will generate the important related code, and we will use it to execute it and get the result. As you can see, it is similar to Pandas AI, but it is much better than that. Why? Because in for loop, we have try and except, and in case of each attempt, if we have an error, if we have a mistake, we include our error to the original message for the second try. In the second try, if we have an error, we include the wrong generated code and its message to the third try, and it goes on fourth. And if you want, you can even make it fifth or sixth, but which is not necessary. Yeah, we can use this setup with any kind of Olama container or Hugging Face model or Olama file. The most important part in order to use this AI agent for making data analysis on the sales report will be intent classification. Why? Because our client who uses this application can ask any question which can be unrelated to our purpose. So we have to make sure that the questions are related to our purpose. it is related intention. So what we have to make sure that by using OpenAI API and Pydantic library, we will use intent classification, and we will make sure that if the question is related about any question about sales report for making data analysis on it, we will allow it. So we will allow being code to be generated and executed. If the request is not related for making a data analysis on a sales report, we will simply state that it's out of scope, and we will not allow it to continue and generate code, and so that we will not have a problem. So let us execute our code. First, it will be an intent classification for our variable data.json, data.json file. If the question is related for our intention as making data analysis on sales report, it will allow it to continue, generate code, execute code, and proceed accordingly. If it is not related, it will just simply say out of scope. Let's see, for example, I am asking unrelated question with sales report, such as, hi, how are you? So, or I can ask whatever I want, like get the weather condition of Istanbul and Celsius from OpenWeather API. So it will not generate the code because it is unrelated to make sales analysis on data.json, which is for sales report of SAP. So let's ask a related question. For example, I have good examples here. For example, what's the earliest and latest document date recorded, for example? This is our question, and this is related to sales report. So intent classification is accepted. It is in the first attempt. The code is generated. So I have two logs. One is for the successful one, and the other one is in case of unsuccessful ones. So the code is successfully generated, successfully executed, and output is earliest is 1st of January and latest is 8th of November 2024, which is very good. So I have the log now, so I can see the logs here. I will generate more code and see accordingly with parsing these JSON files. Let's ask more code. Let's ask more question and see how they generate code and execute it. For example, which vendor supply number has the most transaction, or which document types exist in dataset, how often they occur? I'm asking this question now. It is related to sales report, so it's allowed according to intention. The code is generated by OpenAI and it's executed by Microsoft AutoGen. So yeah, that's it. These are the document types and these are their value count, which is perfect. So as you say, it became very simple to ask questions to make a data analysis on a JSON, Excel, CSV file. So this is what material descriptions appear most frequently. These are the, yeah, this is the answer for it, and this is their how many times they occur. Yeah, as you see, it works perfectly. Which vendor supply number has the most transactions? Let's ask it as well. And later we can check the logs. So I forgot to put W, but let's check if it will understand it or not. I assume it will, because the intention is accepted. Yeah, so the transaction number is this one, and the number of transactions is this. Great. So let's check Jupyter Notebook with these MCP log, JSON, and MCP memory JSON. One is for every successful attempt, and one is for each attempt. So far, we get the result at each attempt, at first attempt. But maybe if we would have a more complicated data set, we would have the result in the second attempt. So that's why we have a second separation, in order to show our client with the log that we don't use the value of the data set, of the data frame. We only use the information we send. So our valuable information stays at company at their local environment. So let me open Jupyter Notebook and let me parse this with importing JSON library, and let me import OpenAI's library to get the nibs, to get the JSON files for X in OS list directory. If x ends with .json, print x. We know our data.json, and these are our logs. Let's proceed with open MCP log JSON. So we had 3 questions. How many questions we had? 4 questions, but 3 of them were related. The first one wasn't, so its code is not executed and generated. Last 3 are executed, so we should have 3 dictionaries in the list. So once we convert it to Python variable, so let's say MCP log is, it will be JSON load, since it's a JSON file with f variable. And once we check, it's a list. So when we say type, it's a list, and len will be the question we ask, because we asked 4 questions, 3 of them were related with the intention. So the first one, the code isn't generated, last 3 is generated. So since it's a list, I can get the first dictionary, and I can get the first dictionaries, the keys. So I can say the keys for attempt number, timestamp, which time, prompt. Let's see the first prompt. Basically, we can make, for example, a message with string with f function, and since it is with 2, we are using this. We can have it, yeah, perfectly like this. Yeah, it will work. So the first prompt, and after prompt, the code. Yeah, execution result, and success, and explanation. Yep. So let's do it for the first index, which is index number 0, print message. Yeah, we can see here your question is this one. Let's make it with more let's make with separation. It will look more beautiful. Yeah, more beautiful, more readable. Even here more. Yeah. So this is our prompt. First, for example, let's say this is our prompt, this is our code, this is execution result, this is success, boolean, and this is the explanation. Yeah, but much better. So the prompt goes, this is the data set, these are the columns, these are data types, missing info is none, this is the explanation, and your question is this one. Since there is no error, there is no latest wrong code, there is no latest exception, and this is the generated code. Yeah, and this is the generated code, and this is the execution result, and success is true, code executed successfully. Yeah, that's perfect. So we can proceed with the other ones. So the first index after the index number 0, we proceed with the other question. The question is, as you can see, what document type exists in dataset, how often they occur. This is the code generated, and this is the result. Yep, perfect. Yep, as you can see, it works perfectly. We can check the other file as well, which is MCP memory. MCP memory, you will see it will have less detail as MCP memory, because it's MCP log is for every attempt, in case if there is a wrong generated code as well, in case if it is wrong, understood, misunderstood. But this one is only for the write attempt. So of course in this one there will be MCP memory. There is, yeah, not MCP log, MCP3. Let's take MCP memory list first index and its dictionary. Since this is a dictionary, we will check the keys of this dictionary. Yeah, prompt code timestamped. So we can make this attempt much easier with message to. It's not MCP log, it's MCP memory. So that's just 2 of them is enough. Timestamped. Yeah, we can keep the timestamp if you want, like this. MCP memory, timestamped, code, prompt, both MCP memory. Let's start with the first one. And print message to. Yeah, that's it. As you can see, we have 2 logs. One is for only successful attempt. The other is each attempt. Yep, perfect. Thank you for watching. Hope to see you in the next project.